Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Connect event. This is our January first one of 2024. Shout out to everybody who had a wonderful year, and some people who, even if you had a challenging year in 2023, welcome to 2024 and Happy New Year to everyone. I know there is a little bit of contention on how long can you say Happy New Year. My thing is, if it's a new year, as long as you want. But some people are like 3 days, that's it, max. So if you have a New Year limit, it's okay to let other people know. Today I am with my wonderful colleague Ben Eden. I'm gonna just introduce him in just a moment. But before I do, I want to let everyone know about this session is going to be a little bit different from what we normally do here at Connect events. We are going to have new and exciting workshops and specials for our Connect team and for our Connect members. So please continue to stay tuned as we continue to grow and learn from each other. And now I will introduce Ben Eden. Ben is the founder of Reach Your Ultimate Potential, an online coaching business that helps new entrepreneurs move past self-doubt and towards success. He started his business after years as a highly successful HR executive at a global company, and his work cultivates an abundance mindset, which I can attune and attest that is 100% correct about the abundance mindset. And he has helped countless clients gain the confidence to reach their full potential, their own potential. Ben, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate you being a part of this journey.
Well, thank you, Dave. It's good to be here again. Happy to be here with everybody. I see some of my members on the call. Hello, everybody, and some people from the LifeGuides team and everybody else. I look forward to getting to know you throughout the year.
Wonderful. Well, as I said before, this is going to be a little bit different. We are just so excited for these new processes. Thank you so much to the Connect team for creating these new opportunities. And so I'm going to hand it actually over to Ben to lead for most of this session. And I encourage everyone to participate where you can. We've got some goodies that are going to be coming across. So please keep a lookout on your chat. If you have any challenges getting the workbook, please just message us on the back end and we'll take care of it. Right now, you'll see there is a link in the chat. And for those of you who are watching in perpetuity, the link will be in the bio and as well as the description for you to download your own well-being action plan. So I'll pass it over to Ben. Wait, forgive me. One more thing. I want to encourage everyone, if you are going to work with us and use the workbook, please save it first. Don't fill it in within the web browser as it won't save if you want to look back at your work. So once you click the link, go ahead and save the document, and then we'll rock and roll. All right, Ben, over to you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Dave. So once more, what we're going to do right here is something you can follow along with us. Okay, that's why you have the form. I'm talking to everybody on the listening. So go to that link that's in the chat, get your well-being action plan, pull it up on your computer, and you can fill out yours along with us. I'm going to do a live session with Dr. Dave here, but you can do yours with us. Now, that being said, this can be very helpful for you to fill out with us, but also don't stress too much. If you're like, oh no, I'm a little behind, or oh no, I don't know how to do this part, that's okay. That's why you can set up a call or a session with your guide afterwards, right? So having that in mind, let's get started. I'm going to pull up the Wellbeing Action Plan on my end. And again, I'm going to show you through a live session with Dr. Dave, and you guys can follow me through if you'd like. So let me share my screen here. Okay, can you see the Wellbeing Action Plan?
I can. Ben,
Perfect.
can you do me a big favor, maybe increase the percentage to maybe 125?
Yep.
Just for me. My eyes aren't what they used to be. Thank you. Or even 150.
I'll give
Okay.
you 150. How's that?
Much appreciated. I see the I see the thumbs up flying. So maybe some people feel what I feel.
Yeah, okay, this is good. I can even go bigger if needed, but you just let me know.
This is good to go.
So let me explain how this is going to work, and then we'll jump into the live with Dr. Dave. In life, we say, hey, I want my well-being action plan. Great. A plan on how to improve something about my life. And we're at a great part of the year to do so. You can do it any time of the year, but hey, this is the part of the year that everybody does it, right? So jump on the bandwagon. What we realize is there's not one aspect of our life that controls all well-being. And if we were to just focus on one and forget about the others, then we might end the year feeling a little out of balance and wonder why things didn't work out so well. So what we're going to do today is go through five pillars of our life: career, financial, fun, relationships, and well-being. Because you realize that all five of these have a great impact on your life. If you find that one area is extremely low, for example, if you're fun, you're like, yeah, I have zero fun in my life, but the rest of your life is working out pretty darn well, you're still going to feel like something's missing. So what we'll do is, if I keep scrolling down here, and you see that this can be filled in, all right? So I can put a number or something in there. What we're going to do is start here in section 1. So I'm going to, go a little slow to make sure that everybody can keep up here. Just put it in the chat if you have a question. And this is all for you, but this is recorded, and you can meet with your guide later to do your own personal one. Section 1 is the summary of understanding. What we first want to do is just understand where you are in each pillar. And when you do it, there's no judgment. This is pure awareness. If I'm super sad and super devastated about my career, okay, that's good to know. We finally admit it to ourselves. Or if our career is fantastic and we're top of the world, then that's great. Again, we're getting awareness here. So when you start here, let's have no judgment, and we're going to answer a couple questions. What is working? We always like to start with what is working. The brain often does the opposite and says, oh, let me focus on everything that's wrong. And then we wonder why we're so discouraged. But let's start with what's working, because there's always something that is working. Then we'll go through what's not working. We'll understand some of the barriers and obstacles that exist in your life. And finally, we'll say, what does a 10 look like? And I'll explain what that means. But I just wanted to give you a quick overview before we dive in, to give you a picture so that it makes more sense as we go through. Then what happens is we just do the same thing for each of the pillars. We'll go through and understand everything. And at the end, let me just scroll down here so you can see that they're all the same for the 5 pillars. At the end, there's section 2, which is the action plan. Now, we may not have time to go through this today, but again, that's why you can set up a call with your guide and have your own personalized action plan. What we're doing today is extremely important at the beginning step. So when we get our rating for the career pillar, then we'll say, okay, what's my goal? Why do I want to achieve this? And then some other details to help you make it happen. And this is how we can stay consistent with what we talked about today. It's not going to be, oh man, that was amazing. I feel so good and I feel so motivated. And then next week you're like, yeah, I don't even remember what I talked about.
Right.
We're going to have a plan to make sure that these things happen throughout the year. And with this plan and with you talking to your guide, your chances of success go up to 95% because you have that accountability partner. That sound pretty good?
Sounds
Everybody give me a
fantastic.
thumbs up or a yeah in the chat if that sounds pretty good to you.
Oh, I see some yes flying. Appreciate it, Farrah. Oh, and
Good. Yeah, oh,
here
look at
goes the
those.
feedback. Look at
That's
those.
awesome. Okay. So we're going to jump in. We're going to do a live session with Dr. Dave. So if you've never had a LifeGuide session, this gives you a taste. It won't be exact because, the format's a tiny bit different, but this will give you a taste of how it works. And so hopefully at the end, you're like, oh man, that was amazing. I want to do mine. Set up a session with a guide, and you're off to the races. Any questions before we get started, Dr. Dave?
No questions, but I do want to be. I want to be kind of call something out. All of our guide sessions are 100% confidential. This one will not be. But that's okay. I've consented to it, and I am allowing us to go forward with it. So let's take it away, Ben.
Good. Yes. Then thank you for sharing that. So Dr. Dave, we're going to start right here. And I'm going to assume in this guide call, I've already explained how things work. And we're just going to jump right in. Does that sound okay?
Fantastic.
Perfect. So Dr. Dave, we'll start with your first pillar of career. Now on the pillar rating, I'm going to ask you to rate your current career on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being this is the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. I'm so happy here. This is where I want to be for the rest of my life. Down to a 1 saying, if I could leave tomorrow, I would. What would you say? 1 to 10.
Okay, so initially I wanted to say 10 because I love what I do when I wake up in the morning. I don't get that drudging feeling of, oh no, I've got to get up and go do this. I am fulfilled when I wake up and I get to do what I do in all aspects of my career. Um, However, there's always room for improvement. So I would rate it as a 9 because I do love what I do. However, there's got to be ways that I can optimize some of my career strategy to help maybe plan for the year and not be sidewinded or sided by challenges. So 9. Let's go with 9.
Okay, perfect. Now, Dr. Dave, this is a live session, but I'm also going to do a little bit of commentary for the people listening, if that's okay. I very
Okay.
much
Yeah, sure.
appreciate your honesty because you could get on this call and say, well, I need to say a 10. But even when we love our job, you can say a 10, and that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. There's also the aspect of, hey, I do love my job, but I realize there's a little bit more that I could get. Okay, great. So there's nothing wrong with a 9, and I'm so grateful for your honesty in sharing that. And you mentioned a few of these things, and I'm typing them in if you can see as we're going. But tell me a few more things that are working about your career right now.
Um, I'm in this prime of getting or doing what I want to do as far as like serving others and being a part of their life and improving their life. So I'm feeling what's working is uh I'm fulfilled. Thank you. I love what I do, and I'm supporting people. So what's working is people are feeling supported, they're feeling help, they're feeling uh in some cases healed.
Good.
So that's what's really working for me.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, tell me a few things that are not working.
Okay, so a few things that are not working is uh, for me scheduling. I have a dense schedule because of the diff. My career is multifaceted, and along with being leader here at LifeGuides, I'm also a researcher and a clinician, and a therapist and psychologist. So there's a tight window when it comes to my availability. So scheduling, there's lots going on, and I think helping. What's not working for me is sometimes being overbooked.
Okay. So you can see how I'm writing these notes. And for everybody watching, you don't have to worry about how you write those notes. There's no one right way to do it. All I'm doing is a little bit of shorthand to remember what is not working. And this is giving us an overall picture. So Dr. Dave, tell me in your career, what would make it a 10? What would make it absolutely amazing?
Okay, it would make it absolutely amazing, and I'm putting this out here because I truly believe this. When I have a system for repeatable success, that means scaling what I'm doing in a way where many are benefiting. So scaling would make it a 10, and scaling includes having a consistent calendar, consistent expectations, um, and also, what would also make it a 10 is having KPIs. For those of you who are corporate uninitiated, KPIs is key performance indicators, and I have some for myself. So what would make it a 10 is uh, improving im- improving my KPIs to reach a higher level than I currently am at.
Okay, this is good. System for repeatable success, scalability, consistent calendar and expectations, and have KPIs. So in other words, let's see if I get this right, especially with the calendar and expectations. You have a lot going on. You're very capable. You're a high achiever. You're able to do amazing things. You just want to feel a little bit better about what you have in your life because you have a lot going on. And you want to feel like you're showing up as you need to, where you need to. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I mean, I should have had you say it instead of me. You packaged it up nice, put a bow on it. Appreciate
Okay,
that.
very good. So let's just say this here. Feel like see, I just said it out loud and now I have to write it down. Shows up where and how he needs to. How's that?
Feels good.
Okay. So what we're doing here is we're not super specific at the moment. We can be, that's great. But also what I'm looking for is a feeling. because in
Mm.
all of these, we want to feel like things are working. Okay. We can have, I want to make this, I want to do this, I want to do that. And those are great. But ultimately, we're seeking for a feeling. So that's what we're looking for right now in our summary. We've had some specifics, which is great, but we're just summarizing for here. So 9 on career, what's working, what's not working, what does the 10 look like? Anything else you want to share on career?
No, this is just going remarkably well.
All right, let's do this. Okay, next on financial. Your pillar rating, 1 to 10. 10 being like, oh man, this is amazing. I could teach a class on finances. I feel so great. 1 being like, yeah, I just really need some help. Don't know what to do. What would you say?
Oh, definitely a eight, eight, eight on that. And here's why. I'm connecting with um, different investors, and so I'm learning so much about the world of finance, and also, personal finance, how to compound. Now, of course, I'm not giving advice to others on how to compound interest or anything like that because I don't know that stuff. I'm just learning it myself. But I'd like to learn more. So what's working is I have a will to want to learn, and what's working is my standards are my living standards are good, and
Okay,
I'm blessed in that way. So I'm very grateful.
awesome. Tell me what's not working about finances.
What's not working is um, changing behavior. So for me, there's some behaviors that need to change, and I have no problem talking about it. Some of those behaviors are just spending way too much on books. I I I I love books, and I spend way too much time and money on them sometimes. And maybe there's a better way. I could join a book club or something like that, but we can get into that another time.
Okay, thank you for sharing. We all have our things that we spend on, don't we?
Mhm.
What is a
Someone
10?
said I'm out of bookshelves. Sorry to interrupt, but someone in the chat said I'm out of bookshelves. Same here. I've
Oh,
got stacks like right next to my bookshelf, and I got to get a new one. Yeah. Sorry, Jim.
hey, you know what? You reminded me. Let me pull my chat back up. Okay, this should work. Okay. You can still see the form, right?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. So yeah, in finances, tell me what a 10 looks like.
Okay. So a 10 looks like automation. That's what a 10 looks like to me. Um, Stuff on, auto draft, the um, investments are on auto. Investments in kids education, or investments um in new ventures, because I appreciate and love to support new ventures. So automation also includes having potentially um a process where I can review my investments, my financials quickly, and not spend a weekend doing that.
Mhm. Very good. Does that look right? Automation, things set up, simple process.
Absolutely.
Very good. Okay, let's go on to fun. Oh, let me pause. Anything else you want to say about finances?
No, no, that's it for me there.
All right, with fun. Now, this can mean anything to you. I'm not going to define what fun is. All right, so you just tell me on the level of fun in your life. 10 being like, oh yeah, super enjoying life, it's amazing. Down to 1, you're like, I don't even remember what I do for fun.
I remember a time where I didn't remember what I do for fun. This is no doubt a 10 for me, and one of the reasons is because I choose to have fun in life even when things are terrible. I make I choose to see the fun even in difficult conversations. Um, and I have to have fun and joy in my life to enjoy it. And that's for me. I never even expect my family to adopt that same viewpoint, but that's what works for me.
Well, that's very impressive that you've learned to have fun and choose to have fun even when things are hard. It's awesome.
It's a challenge, but it's fun. There we go. There's that word again.
There you go. Yeah, now I know your mindset. That's awesome. Now, even though this is a 10, is there anything
Mhm.
not working?
Yes. So when it comes to fun, there are pieces that aren't working in that I may have to work harder to see the fun in it. And so what's not working is reactivity and defensiveness. Um, that can block fun. If I'm finding fun in everything, even in challenging times, defensiveness and reactivity uh, can block that for me.
Okay. And thank you for, just sharing. I mean, that happens to all of us where we can feel great about how it's going, and that's amazing. We can validate how well it's going. It can still be a 10, even though there's room for perfection, or, for improvement, I should say. And then when we realize, okay, sometimes I can be this way, but still acknowledge you for where you are, that's awesome. So congrats on that.
Much appreciated.
Okay, and fun. You're on a 10, but is there anything that can make it even better? What would that look like?
That will a 10, it would look like a 10 plus to me when I'm helping others also have fun more often. Typically, this is my fun and I'm having fun. But a 10 would be if someone else is having a challenge, or during a challenging situation, that I can help them see the fun in it too, if
Mhm.
they're open to it.
Okay. You know what's neat, real quick? Can I just make a comment on this?
Sure.
So I've been seeing recently a couple things on Facebook and in books where there's levels of fulfillment. And at first we go for the very basics, and then we look for the needs, and then we look for what makes us excited. And then there's finally the level of service, thinking of others. So guess what? You're at a level 10, things are working, things are great, you have that down. And guess what? For you to make it even better, you're like, well, let me help others. That's amazing.
I appreciate you adding that in. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, so well done. I mean, glad to have you in our circle.
We all need more fun, right?
Okay, let's look at relationships. 1 to 10. 10 being like, this is amazing. I'm so happy. I feel great in my relationships. Down to 1 being, I have to make a change.
So I'm going to go the complete opposite, and go a 5. And here's why it's a 5. What's working for me is I know that relationships are important. I value relationships. So what's working is I'm continuously seeking to build relationship. That's what's really working for me, is that eagerness to build on it.
Okay, so what's working is that you know the importance and it's on your mind. Is that right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
all the time.
Can you tell me anything else that is working about relationships?
When I'm in a relationship, I typically what works for me is um like turning towards someone, or like like looking, it, it's physically looking at them, but then it's also turning towards them even in conflict. That's really helpful for me. And it works to help me continue to build the relationship with them, and so I can show up, for them, and show up for myself, because there's also a relationship. This 5 also is talking about myself. I need to get to know myself because I'm changing. I'm now past the age of 35. Well, all right, I'm much more past the age of 35, but but we'll say 35 right now.
Okay. So let me see if I got this. So turning your attention to someone, whether it's physical or just, like this, um, that helps. Even in conflict, is that what you said?
Yes, even in
Okay.
conflict.
Very good. And that's great. So it's important in your mind as well as some of your techniques or some of your attempts are working. So that's great.
Indeed.
That's a 5. We could say, oh man, a 5. I've been at 8s, 9s, and 10s. What's the deal? We could react that way, but there's no need to, because we're not here to judge, right? We're here to just have pure awareness, be honest, which you're doing an amazing job at. And then we realize, even though it's a 5, whatever that means to you, there are still things that are working. So great job.
Wow. That's dope. I really feel good about the no judgment piece. Like, I think I needed to hear that. But okay, let's continue.
Awesome. All right. So now let's get into the specifics of what is not working about relationships.
So what is like not working, and is how do I say this without being crass? Listening. I have to do a better job of listening and really really building that up. So is it possible? Let me ask you this, Ben. Is it possible for what's not working to also maybe support what can make it a 10?
Oh, absolutely. Tell me what you're thinking.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking because I realized that listening is important. I'm again talking about books again. Purchase some books on listening that are wonderful. One of them is I think the Lost Art of Listening. It's a fantastic. It gets on its second edition. But what I think could help for me is understanding how to use not only active listening but uh, listening to just to hear the other person, like cutting off my our normal reactions, which is typically, oh, you went through that, oh, I went through this too, or you went through that, well, that sucks, just really restructuring how I'm listening. And I believe that would help me move to a 10, is learning and practicing too, like putting it in practice.
Okay, I'll put that over here. And it's okay if we go out of order a little bit. It's a great point that you have. So
That's
listen
fine.
just to hear the other person, right? Here, and maybe I'll
Yes.
add and to understand. Is that fair?
Yes, understanding is good because I've just learned that sometimes when people say, "Oh, I understand," it's almost communicating, not all the time, but almost communicating to them that I already know exactly what you're going to say, so there's no need to talk.
There you go.
So yeah, I just learned that, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I need that in my tool belt."
Yeah. Okay. So that's great. And let's spend a little bit more time here. What's not working, not listening well enough. Okay, so you bought some books about, I'm going to put it up here. Bought
Mhm.
some books on listening, right?
Yes.
And then what a 10 looks like, you want to listen just to hear and understand the other person. Now, what you said about understand, you want to keep that in the 10 or you want to take that out?
Let's keep that because there is a part of understanding, and that is wanting to. So like really wanting to understand where the person's coming from. So if someone's blowing up, it's not as easy just to say, "Oh, um, uh, I'm about to say irascible. You're just irritated." Instead, saying what's leading you to feel that way. Maybe something happened in their childhood that's leading them to feel that way, and that's helping to understand. So understand makes sense there.
Yeah. Okay, good. So let me ask one more question.
Mhm.
What would need to happen to make you feel like you're listening better in a conversation?
I saw this in the chat, so I want to call it out, and that is not practicing what I'm going to say next in my head. That would be wonderful because I'm pretty confident. Anyone on this call has had that happen where you're in a situation, in a conflict, or even just a conversation, and you're just practicing. Like, what am I going to say next? I'm going to say this to this point. I want to say this to this point, and it happens so much that we forget to really listen to what the other person is saying. So that's what
Okay,
would help me, is not practicing that.
that's awesome. So not practicing response in your head while the other person is talking. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now watch this. We're going to make this even more powerful. You ready?
Okay.
I want you to rephrase this from a not sentence into a what am I going to do? So instead of what am I not going to do,
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
going to practice my response. Change it into what will I do instead?
I will I will remain completely in tune to the other person. Feel good about that. Yeah, I will remain completely in tune to the other person. And that would, yeah, I believe that would limit the not practicing the responses in my head.
And I felt something different when you said it that way. Did you?
Well, I did. I had to think about it. I mean, the other one was just kind of a, blip. This is kind of in my head, but the second one, it created just a little bit more of a challenge for me to think about it. And I feel better too. Energetically, it feels better.
Yeah, good. One other thing I want to say about this. When we focus on the not, then we're focusing on pushing something out of our head and it's exhausting. And if we say, I'm not going to practice my response, then when we're listening, we're like, okay, I can't focus on that response. Oh no, the response is coming to me and I can't do that. So that's going through our head. But when you replace it with something you will do, I will remain completely in tune to the other person, then distractions don't work anymore because you are being completely in tune with the other person. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, yeah, that's helpful.
Okay, how's that feel to you?
It feels warm and fuzzy. There we go. I
Love it.
I feel warm and fuzzy.
Good. Okay. Yeah. So we already have a specific to take your 5 to whatever it needs to be through remaining completely in tune to the other person. How awesome is that? And you already have things that are working. You know it's important. You know that turning your attention to somebody is working, and you have some books to help you out. And then you have a guide, of course, right?
Oh yes, yes. Guides will be in full effect for this.
Awesome. All right, ready to move on to well-being?
Yes.
Okay. And I always check. Sorry, I'm intuitive too here. Do you have anything else you want to bring up with relationships?
No, no.
Okay. And I just want to pause and comment here. I don't define these for anybody, right? I didn't say your work relationships, your romantic relationships, your family relationships, but I didn't specify. You answer it according to what's important to you, and then it can apply to whatever is important to you. And it works every time. All right, well-being. So this is health and well-being, whatever that means to you. 10 being like, oh, this is amazing. I could be on commercials. This is great. Down to a 1, like, man, I'm going to see the doctor tomorrow, you know? Love to.
Right, right. Um, Mine is an 8, and it's 8. Let's see let me think about what's working. What's working is I track my heart rate variability, or I track biometrics on or heart rate variability. I track my sleep, my RE, my REM sleep, deep sleep. Now I get it, and I recognize not everybody is privileged to have technology or access to that stuff to do it. So what's also been working for me for my well-being is practicing gratitude, like being really grateful for others. When I may help someone else on their journey, or someone helps me, that gratitude really boosts my well-being. So that's what really works for me, is gratitude, and um, just knowing where I am as far as my body is.
Good.
But I
Okay.
can't be on a commercial though, not yet.
Hey, no worries. I
Okay.
don't know if that's our goal, right?
Right, right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Very good. Yeah, gratitude's super powerful, and then tracking what's going on is very helpful. So well done. What's not working about your health and well-being?
So what's not working is consistency. I did see a mention in the chat about the benefits of tracking deep sleep, and Zachary put that in the chat. And the benefit for me is I come from, yeah, I've worked overnight, doing rounds, and I've messed up my sleep schedule. I've had to see sleep doctors, and I want to prevent future challenges related to sleep. And so I track it to make sure that I'm improving each month. And the benefit of tracking deep sleep for me is because when I'm in REM and deep sleep is when I rest and digest, and that's important, especially I uh, if I need that. REM is where I dream, and so what's working is sometimes I'm not consistent with all of this. I'll do it for like a couple of weeks, maybe 4 weeks, and then I'll miss a week where I'm not tracking. So consistency is probably what's not working the best for me.
Okay. So does the consistent in tracking, does that apply to all biometrics or mainly sleep?
Mainly, mainly sleep, because I have to. There's certain things that I have to do to track it. So, and this is another question in the chat. So, like, wow, we're all working together. I appreciate the questions in the chat. What do I use to track? I use an Aura ring. It's these little rings like this that and so What makes it not consistent is, unfortunately, it's a device. It has to be charged. Sometimes I forget to charge it. I'll charge it and then go through my week and then forget to charge it. So I have to set a reminder to charge it.
Well, Dr. Dave, guess what? You just got your wish of being on a commercial for Aura.
Oh, yeah, right. They better sit, cut the check. Or no, we're just joking. I've actually met with a couple of their couple of their leaders, cool people there.
That's awesome. Well done. Yeah. So there's all sorts of things out there from paid to unpaid, things that can work. And yeah, lots of guides that can help you with your specifics. So thank you for bringing that up. So what's working is your tracking, your gratitude. You'd love to be a little bit more consistent. So what does that 10 look like?
That 10 looks like consistency across all, you know, across all measures. And consistency for me is just, you know, doing the best I can and also not judging when I don't. I think that's what would help for a 10 is not judging.
How's that? Good.
Not judging. Yep, that's what works.
And I'll comment on that real quick too. Our well-being has a lot to do. I like your gratitude. Okay. Being grateful can go a long way for our literal physical health. Therefore, our mindset has a lot to do with our physical health. So when you say not judging, yeah, we can be doing very well, quote unquote, because it's all relative, right? But be extremely critical on ourselves and therefore feel like our health is terrible. But when you can mix gratitude and progress and not perfect consistency, consistency doesn't mean perfection. It just means you're consistent. That means you keep going, you get back at it. All right. And you have some sort of pattern. Okay. So you're doing amazingly well. And I love that you realize that not judging yourself is a great thing to have as a 10.
Yeah,
There you go. Any
it's
other thoughts on
helpful.
that?
No, that's I'm good on that.
Okay, let's see where we are. Yep, perfect. I thought we were at the end of the 5. So what we'll do is maybe you can help me remember this because I got to scroll
Okay.
up for this. But well-being is an 8. What we're going to do is just get an overall view of your pillars. So well-being is an 8, relationships a 5, fun was a 10, finances was 8, and career was 9. Is that right?
5, finances 8, and career was 9. Yes. Okay.
You
And
can
I'm
go
I'm
back and look
putting
if we
it
need to.
down too.
Okay. So then look at this, right? And here we are, zero judgment. This is just for you to decide for you right now and kind of listen to your body too, right? Say, how do I feel about this? Is there any area that I want to focus on? Is there any area that I didn't realize where it was? And maybe I'm super happy, or maybe it's, oh man, good thing I know, and now I can do something about it. So those are some
Hmm.
thoughts. And then the question is, what area do you want to focus on first? And it doesn't have to be the lowest. It doesn't have to be it can even be the highest, right? And say, oh, why would we focus on there? Because it's working. And when we focus on what's working, then success begets success. So I'm just telling you some options of what you can do here.
Okay. Um, Man, all of these have a place. I'm gonna go with relationships. Yes, because it's the lowest one. But then also because I'm also the most interested in improving.
Okay, that's great. That's a perfect spot. All we're doing is focusing on something to make progress on. Okay, so let's do this. We're just going to spend a couple more minutes here on relationships. So I'm going to take relationships at a 5, remembering a few things we talked about right here. So it was the listening and remaining completely in tune. Okay, so now we're going to go. I'm scrolling down to section 2 where there's the action plan, and I'm going to find the relationship pillar. I'm going to move the 5 over so you remember where you were. And again, this is just awareness, okay? And it's what am I trying to say? Something that you can look back on and watch your progress. Let's say 90
Okay.
days from now, after working with a guide and going through this, then you can come back and say, wow, at the beginning of the year, I was a 5 and now I'm at a 7, 8, 9, So there's your 5. Now, let's just think through here. And you don't have to have a perfect goal. Just based on what we've talked about, let's choose something as a focus for you. So we talked about relationships. You gave yourself a 5. You want to listen better. You have tools. You have techniques that work. You have books. And you want to remain completely in tune with the person you're talking to. So let's just put this into a goal for this year. And let me say one more thing. And the reason why I say a lot right now is to give you time to think.
Mhm.
But what helps is that you imagine yourself already having accomplished it. So your goal for this year is, for example, at the end of 2024, this is what happened, not here's what I hope to happen. See the difference?
Yes, it's almost like what's a term? Reverse engineering. I've heard that people use that before, but it puts you
Yeah.
in the energy of you've already completed.
Yes, the energy of having achieved instead of the energy of I need motivation to try to make this happen someday, Big difference.
Right.
So what would you say? Let's just choose something here.
So I'm when you were talking as soon as you said giving you a moment to think, that's when I started to think, and I was like, well, what would it be? And what popped up for me is um, my goal or being in that energy is I consistently uh, don't cut people off. I mean that's a small goal, but it's still in the listening framework. So yeah, consistently like don't cut people off.
Good. And remember, we're going to rephrase it to be instead of don't,
Right.
what do. So what would you say there?
Let's see. You, you know what? I know this is mine, but anyone in the chat, if you have some ideas, I'm gonna phone a friend. For
Hey, there you
those
go.
from wow, I don't even know if that game show's still on. But let's say I'll say I well thanks Team Life Guides. I do, rephrasing and saying I am. Oh, that's perfect. Cindy, thank you. Cindy threw in I allow others to complete their thoughts.
Okay.
You get credit, Cindy. I appreciate you. And Charlene, let's tackle this together. I like that.
Oh, these are great ideas coming through. Good work.
Okay, now we're flooding. One last one. Fulfilling fulfilling and healthy relationships across the board. That is just saying that feels strong.
Okay. Then I'm going to do one thing just to try, see how it feels. I'm going back to your relationships right here. So watch what we do. Okay. Here's just an option. I'm not telling you this is what it has to be,
Okay.
but hopefully my copy and paste works here. Going back to relationships, your goal. Watch the power of wording. Okay. I will remain completely in tune to the other person. 2, I remain completely in tune to the other person. That's putting you in the energy of I've already done it. It's already working. This is already me. And when you set this goal today, then your brain believes it's already happening. So you're not striving for something that doesn't exist. You're proving something that does exist. So
That's a good
just
good
wanted
reframe.
to share that. Now, this is your choice. I'm just your guide. I'm not here to tell you what to do. But any of those 3 that you want to, I'm just going to bold one of them. What feels best for you in your goal of relationships for 2024?
Let's go with I remain completely in tune to the other person. You taking out that will. Yeah, I almost said I will remain again, but I remain completely in tune to the other person.
Okay. Well, it looks like I can't bold in this format. That's totally fine. So I'm going
Right
to,
on. It's bolded in my mind.
there you go. And I'll just break this, okay? So I will remain completely in tune to the other person. Very good. What we're going to do to end today, because we're running out of time, is we're going to answer this final question. And then, of course, you can set up another call with me later so we can finish this up. Does that sound okay?
And yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. So why is it so important to you? Why do you want to remain completely in tune to the other person?
Because I know what it's like to not be heard.
Mm. Now I'm getting chills here.
It's true, when you felt something, you don't want others to feel that. So yeah, that's why I want to make not make this happen. I'm changing my language. Here we go. We're all working on ourselves. This is happening for me, and
Yes.
this is what I'm stepping into.
Good. And okay, I'm going to choose another. I'm going to focus on one other great language you just used. This is happening for me. Sometimes we say this is happening to me, and then we're in the victim mode. But this is happening
Mm,
for me, and guess what I can do with it? This is an opportunity. How can I make this great? How can I make 2024 amazing because of what's happening for me? Right? Ways of talking to
right.
ourselves. So this is great. Let's do one last thing. I know what it is like to not be heard. That's great. So you know the pain. You can relate with what happens or how it feels when things don't work the right way. So let's just choose one last powerful language to say, because I know what it's like not to be heard, this is what I want to do. This is the effect I want to have on people. This is the feeling that I want to have. What would you say?
Because I know what it's like to not be heard. I mean, let's say it plain. I want others to feel like they are valued.
You just taught a seminar on how to have positive relationships in one sentence.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. All right, I'll take it.
Okay. And that's true. To have a positive relationship, you focus on making the other person feel valued. When they feel valued, they'll want to make you feel valued. And guess what? Then you're building each other up, and boom, there's a positive relationship. How amazing is that?
Mm-hmm. We need more of that.
There you go. Starred. Okay. Good. So now, Dr. Dave, well done on your pillars. Here's what we've done. I'm just going to summarize this for you. And then, like I say, we can schedule another call to complete this. You can work on
Mm-hmm.
this on your own. And when we meet next time, then we'll help clarify it. We'll have some dates, we'll have some action items from some specifics of what to do to make this a reality. But we've done the most important part. You're talking in language as if it already happened, and you know why. You've linked it to an emotion. When these are important, then you've activated the subconscious that works when you're sleeping, when you're busy, when you're not thinking about it, and it makes it happen because it believes it already has. Does that sound good for you?
Facts. Yeah, the unconscious mind is probably our most powerful tool that we haven't tapped into because it's running all the processes. I haven't asked my heart to beat, but thank you for beating heart.
There you go. Well done. Well, Dr. Dave, was this helpful for you?
More than I thought it was going to be, and I thought it was going to be helpful. So this is, beyond expectations, and I feel like, well, one, definitely there's going to be a follow-up call because I do want to work on, some of these progress points. But I'm feeling good. This is wonderful.
Okay, you're amazing. So we'll set up our call. We'll follow up on your action item for here, and then we'll make more progress with you. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We'll end the live, and now we'll activate the chat. And Dr. Dave, back to you to run this.
All right. Let me just a little cleansing breath to go back into a host mode after being in a session. I hope this, is a kind of a portrait for you of just how strong guide sessions can be when you're working with someone, when you're building trust, when you're learning from someone else who's had lived experience. And that's one of the reasons why we chose Ben and why I chose Ben, for this is because of his experience. He's had this experience as an entrepreneur, running businesses and working on these different pillars. And sometimes it's just easier to connect with someone who knows what I've been going through. And Ben, He knows what I've been going through
Mhm.
based on his experience. So I do want to open it up. We have a few minutes left. If there are any questions based on our session today, I want to open it up to the chat. This group has been on fire today. I appreciate the all of the energy, all the loves, all the likes. But if there's any questions, please post them in the chat, and we'd love to answer them. And I have another announcement that I'll do in just a moment. But we
Yeah.
appreciate all of you. Go ahead, Ben.
Yes, and sorry, I'll share one more thing while people are thinking and typing in their questions. First, of course, I want to thank you publicly for being vulnerable with us. I'm sure everybody felt honored to be in your presence while you were just sharing part of your life with us. And you did a great job. So thank you for that. Second, I want to mention, I've been thinking for anybody to have success, we need three things in our life. One is clarity, two is confidence, and three is a structure. And that's exactly what we just did with these 5 pillars. You have clarity on where you are and where you want to go. You have confidence because you're focusing on what's working, and you have an accountability partner who believes in you. And then you have structure that says, here are my 5 pillars, here's my action items, here's how I can do it. I have my accountability partner, and this is what's working. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have the link, and I'm talking to everybody in the chat now. And Zachary asked, what tools are we leaving with you today? It's the Wellbeing Action Plan. Take this form, fill it out, and this will make 2024 the best year you've ever had. Okay? Do it for yourself. Have your session with your guide, and this will get you, percentages are true. They take you to 95% likelihood of success when you do these things. So do the form, set up a session with your guide. I opened my availability for the next couple of weeks. If you want to book with me, I'm happy to help you. Otherwise, we have plenty of guides who can help you and would be happy to do so.
Thanks for adding that, Ben. And we do have a question. Amanda posted, is it okay to work on 2 areas at the same time? And I think that's a good question. Ben, what are your thoughts on working on 2 areas at the same time?
It is definitely possible. So I won't say we shouldn't. I will just mention that when, wherever our focus goes, that's the direction we go in, right? And I've experienced, for example, if with Dr. Dave, if we focused on relationships,
Mhm.
because we're focusing on improving an area of his life, another area of his life will naturally improve. Okay. So if you say, oh, I want to work on well-being and relationships, great. Then we can set some goals and we can take little steps forward. And yes, you can progress in both. So to answer your question, definitely not a problem. It can be done.
Okay. A little bit of strategy there. So let me see. I think we have one more question, and then we'll move to into. Let's see. Sydney posted, aside from the phrasing of how we see a situation, are there other ways to increase our motivation to achieve our goals? I'm going to leave that to you, Ben. You've been really good about reframing and phrasing today, so I want to see what your thoughts are.
Yeah. Wow. Let's see. Let me scroll back up. So sorry, I don't see who made that post, but thank you for the
Oh,
question.
Sydney. Sydney
Okay,
made it.
Sydney. Wow, I could share a
Or
lot
Sydney.
about this because I actually just wrote a book about this. Okay, it's called How We See Ourselves, and it addresses how this works. But the reason why goals don't work is because we don't have enough emotional connection to the achievement of them. We have an emotional attachment to the drudgery of achieving them. Okay, let me give you a quick example. If we want to lose weight, say we want to lose 20 pounds, we focus on the need to go to the gym, to go on a diet, to not eat our favorite food, to change our clothes, to do all the necessary drudgery that is required to losing weight. Therefore, we don't, because it's discouraging. It's different than our normal routine, and it's just not the right way to do it. The better way is what we've talked about today. Okay, you have to activate your why, and you have to link to it emotionally in a way that you've already accomplished it. And then let me go even deeper. This is the how we see ourselves thing. Okay. If we see ourselves as somebody who is energetic and fit and happy and confident in their body, then guess what? We're naturally going to move more. We're naturally going to eat better. We're naturally going to treat our bodies better because we see ourselves that way. So then you ask, okay, how do I do that when I'm used to seeing myself in different ways? Again, my book goes through that, but here's the specific for you. The language that we talked about with Dr. Dave is how you establish it right now. You talk to yourself and about your book as if it already happened. So the you of today, oh, I weigh this much, I don't feel great about myself, whatever. Okay. So 1 year from today, December 31st, 2024, you're already putting yourself there. You already imagine in your mind's eye, how do I look? How do I see myself? How do I feel? What have I accomplished? What have I done this year? And when you see it that way and you can create that picture, then it becomes real in your brain. And then your brain does everything necessary to make it real this year. Okay. There's the power in keeping motivation. You don't have to convince yourself every morning. You already know who you're going to be, so you just make it happen.
That's it. All right. I'm glad I asked you and I didn't say it because I think your answer was much better. Much appreciation on that. So I know we're coming down to the end. I want to just comment real quick. Next month is February, and we have a wonderful session coming up on your guide to filling your heart with love. I want to send a shout out to the panelists that will be joining me next month. I wanted to say next week, but time flies these days. So the love will be flowing. Genesis, one of our guides, as well as Scott, will be a part of our call. And if you haven't booked the call with Genesis or Scott, I encourage you to look them up, especially Genesis, because of her just focus on pleasure and in improving pleasure in every way for us, and how to show up, fully as yourself. So as we end today, I want to say thank you so much, Ben. This has been wonderful. And for those of you watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe, share. Of course, these are specifically for the members of LifeGuides. We do post this to YouTube some period of time after, but thank you to all of our members. You are showing up and showing out. Thank you to all of our guides who are a part of the community. You are showing up for people, and it truly matters. So thanks to everyone, and hope you have a wonderful Wednesday.